It is 4:05. I'd like to welcome everyone to the November 2nd meeting of the Simon Fairfield Public Library Trustees. We have a quorum. Minutes were sent out electronically. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to read through them. I will entertain any clarifications, questions, comments.
As I mentioned in my email, I was Justin and I were trying to figure it all out. You know how I can understand the financial stuff, and so he is doing it a little bit differently. So he has all the appropriated funds listed first. Is that you've just blocked it off for me. I can't say it anymore.
You're supposed to have memorized it.
Right. Well, yeah, I felt like I did, except every time I did it, it came up with different numbers, and I have to have everything add up correctly. So when everything added up and I had changed it too many times, I quit at that point. So this report should straighten us all out. So
Okay.
Hopefully.
All right. So any other comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes with the explanation from the secretary.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion carries unanimously. So now we can look at the financial report.
All right. So this is do y'all see the report, or do y'all see my face?
I see the report, but it's cut off. If I could get rid of this over here, all the people's faces over here. Can I? All right. You'll have. Okay, I got it.
Right.
Found it. Very
I
good.
Control that. So this is the new report format Ellie was talking about. Instead of having those weird tables that go through and show everything how I see it in my, very basic open source, free and inadequate budgeting software, I've separated it out into tables. So the first account you'll see is the personnel account, and then the first column is the budget, the second column is what we've expended, and the third column is what we have remaining. So that looks like what it should look like at this point in the fiscal year. And under operations, it's the same. You can see the total in operations. It's in this gray field. And then underneath all of the individual line items. So you can see what we've budgeted for electric, heating, other utilities versus what we've spent and what we have remaining in the operational budget, which is, again, kind of, exactly what we would expect to see at this point in the fiscal year. An other municipal fund, which isn't included in our budget, but it's still a municipal account, is the Article 10 repair. That's still left over from the fall 2020 town meeting. We've got $1,303.50 left, which was carried forward to finish the electrical project, which that'll be a topic later in the meeting. So that's the municipal side of it. Are there any questions on that before I move on to the trustee accounts?
Go ahead.
I'm probably going to mush some of those together. Because when you have other utilities, and I know that must be water and sewer and stuff like that, but is that all it is water and sewer?
Yep, pretty much.
Okay, so other utilities I'm going to call water, sewer, and because I will not remember what other is. Repairs and maintenance and other property expenses I'll probably combine. Because I think that all sort of falls under repairs and maintenance. Other services, I'm not sure what that is. office supplies, I sort of know what that is, and custodial. So I'll probably combine maybe all the other services, office supplies and custodial supplies. So I'll be messing around with it a little bit more. I just want it more, not so many titles. And I know what Justin is doing. He's providing something for the town accountant that's logical to her. And but I just need something simpler that I can read. That's all. So I'm not criticizing Justin's what he's doing. It's just that I just need it a little bit more mushed together. That's all. Okay.
Okay, right. Are we okay with that?
I'm not, I mean, he's still reporting as he appropriately should to Jean Lovett, how he's spending his budget, but it's just,
Right.
that's fine. I'm just
Okay.
making it simpler.
Okay,
But mine would not pass the smell stuff, whatever it is, sniffs
Sniff test.
with her. So that's fine too. I'm just making something. If I have to write this report, I'm doing it very simply.
Okay.
So other supplies is, I'm going to combine. You have office supplies, custodial supplies, and other supplies. So
Supplies.
what is other supplies?
Other supplies is kind of a catch-all category. I like if we order something that's not a light bulb, because a light bulb is an other property related expense, or if it's not something that's directly related to office work, like book jackets, book sleeves, filament.
Yeah, I would call that office supplies. So, all right.
Stuff that's related to the
I
collection.
have to disagree, Ally. I have to disagree. I think there's a difference between office supplies and other supplies, as Justin just mentioned, how book jackets, that's a direct list. That's a supply directly related to the library operation.
And office supplies is not related to library services?
It is, but I would like to be able to, and also custodial supplies. I'd like to be, okay, I understand you, Ellie, and I understand if you can do that, I think that's fine. But will the trustees still be able to see? It doesn't have to be done in the minutes.
Well, I'm just doing it in the minutes. The
I understand
simplified
that.
ones. This is the way your report will come, but when I write my minutes, it's not going to be exactly like
Okay,
this.
as long as the trustees.
Yeah, you'll
can
see it this way because
then.
Justin will present it this way to
Okay.
the trustees.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Perfectly fine. I'm good with that. Other questions or comments? All right, if we're good, we can move on to.
Okay, so this also has the trustee accounts kind of sorted out the same way, only instead of having a budget and an expense column, it's more of just an in and an out column, because we don't have budgets with the trustee accounts. We just have income and expenses. So like building donations, our opening balance was what you see there, and we've gotten $35 in donations. So, and we've spent nothing. So that's the balance of building donations. With interest, it's the building donations with interest. We have kind of the same thing, the opening balance, the donations we've received, plus the interest we've earned on those donations received.
Oh, good. Yeah. All right, good.
And then a balance. And these will probably get updated, the interest quarterly. Because month to month gets kind of dicey trying to calculate what the interest has been.
Yeah.
Because all this stuff gets kind of lumped together into one big account so that they can maximize the earnings on it.
Right.
And earnings are crap right now on everything. And then like the earnings are then sort of calculated out for each individual sub account. That doesn't happen every month just because it's a lot of work. For the LIG MEG, we've got our opening balance. We also have the amount that we've voted to reserve for the capital campaign, which shows as an expense, even though it's really not.
Right, right.
And other supplies, which are story walk stuff, and in this case, also computery stuff, because like a computer part I order to make a like the Deb's PC, like that's a computer part. So
Right.
in terms of municipal finance, it becomes an other supply. It's like other supply is just the catch-all for
Right.
something that doesn't have a GL item that
Right.
it has. And so that leaves our LIG sort of what's available for spending up at this 16,640.25, even though that 13,722.54 is still there. It's just gray because it's not a real expense. It's just a reservation.
Okay, I get it.
So Moan historical books, opening balance, we've spent on circulating materials, so we've got 82.87 left. Regular donations, again, we have an opening balance. We've gotten donations. We have some reserved for capital. We have also spent some on circulating materials, and we've spent some on other supplies again, which
There you go.
was the book wall.
Don't we have enough other?
The moan, we didn't get it.
The Moan account is something we may get a donation this winter. We haven't gotten a donation for the last 2 winters because Mr. Moan passed away. And this was at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. I reached out to his son, and his son is willing to continue giving us some money, not as much as they were before. I sent him a list of what I had ordered in the past 2 years and kind of estimated what we needed to keep a good historical collection going. And he's thinking about it, but I'm pretty optimistic we'll get a Moan donation again. But it always comes at the very end of the year, if it does come.
Mm-hmm.
But we will have to see.
Okay.
But I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful. The revolving account, we had an opening balance of 122.42. No, I'm sorry. We had an opening balance of almost $100, and we've gotten about $25 in replacement fees this year so far. So that accounts at 122.42. The RS Douglas non-expendable line is just a line. There's no in or out there because that's not anything we can do anything with. The interest earned on that account goes into the RS Douglas expendable. So we had an opening balance of $2,061.04, and we've earned $44.21 of interest on that. The reason the interest is so much higher than anything invested with MMDT is a forever untouchable kind of trust that apparently earns more interest. So that one is just kind of there making money that we can spend on children's books. And then we've got the trust fund here, which is floating around waiting to be used for building renovation. And we've got the Carrick fund, which we did get a grant disbursement for earlier. Last week we got it. So this year's disbursement was $966. So the Carrick fund is actually up to $2,203.34. So I'm hoping that this new format will be kind of easier to look at and digest because you can see what is available to spend in each account.
Right.
As opposed to being a bunch of incomes and expenses.
Right. It works for me, that's for sure.
Big sort of, I don't even know what you would call it, table outline format that my software spits out automatically.
Very good. Okay. I think we can move on to the director's report.
Director's report, reclassification is done. All circulating items in the collection are now classified as early reader, juvenile, youth, teen, or adult, which is nice. All the spine labels are done, all the stickers are in the right places, and now it's a lot easier to find stuff, and it's a lot easier to send people to the right section for them, based on their reading level. I had applied to the Mass Humanities for for funding to buy museum passes for next year, because there seems to be a revival of interest in them post COVID. It was not approved. Mass Humanities, they ended up awarding a lot of money to the very museums that I was applying for passes for, and did not actually fund any public library applications. So that didn't happen. So I'm applying for funding for the Cultural Council instead.
Have they, Justin, have they funded museum passes in the past?
They have not. But it's turning over a new leaf. The Cultural Council, well, I'm not qualified to speak for the Cultural Council.
No, I mean, has Mass Humanities funded them in the past?
They haven't. In the past, they were funded by the Friends.
Okay.
I'm hoping I can get get a separate institution to fund them, though, so that the Friends can squirrel more of their money towards our building renovation capital campaign. The children's story times and book clubs continue to be at our set limited capacity. Adult book clubs seem to be picking up some steam. Dick Vandenberg's history talks have not generated as much interest as I had hoped, but they're available on YouTube and people seem to be watching them there because they're being aired on cable. That's the first Thursday of every month. And I am going to try one more virtual program in January. We're going to see how it goes. It's about sort of cheaper living, downsizing, ecological sustainability, being put on by it's being led by a person who lives in an RV with her family, and it just looks fascinating. It looks interesting. So
I'm ready.
you ready for the RV?
Maybe just by myself. No, I'm just kidding.
Since this is happening, in early November instead of late October, as it was originally scheduled, I can report circulation for both months.
Great.
September, we were up a little bit from 2020. Our door count was 1,644. We had 12 programs with 52 attendees. And in October, our circulation was down from the previous year. But our door count was 199 because of Oktoberfest. We also had 21 programs and 107 attendees because, the fall story times got underway.
Okay. I forgot about Oktoberfest. That would be it.
Oktoberfest generates people coming into the library. Not a lot, not as much as you would think. You usually just go to the restroom. This year, though, I really tried to kind of steer people towards the porta potties outside instead of coming into the library to use our restrooms. But, we still had a decent amount of traffic. And that's it for my director's report.
Very good, Justin. Comments, questions, concerns? Okay, hearing none, we can go down to old business. Our best friend, building projects, handicapped access using ramps.
I have nothing new to report on that front. I haven't heard anything from Dick Skinner in a little while.
Yeah. I just think it's interesting, but I think the cost would be really high. I don't think it's a way of getting around the cost. when the requirements for ramps is pretty strict. The weight bearing of them and things like that. So, but he was supposed to get back to us with some type of an actual plan, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was pursuing like estimates on various parts of the project. So he was gonna go, he was talking to like, the alarm guys, the electrical guys to find out what it would take to like move the mini splits back. And so like what he was doing was, or what he said he was going to do was go out and approach vendors and like try to get quotes from
I think,
them.
yeah,
So
I think,
he put together like a good idea of what it would cost.
yeah. One of the biggest costs is concrete. It's a concrete that he's talking or metal? I don't even know.
Metal, a system of
Metal.
metal. I think is what he
Okay.
did. But I will poke him before the next trustee meeting and try to get a report of some sort from him.
Yeah. I'd be interested to hear, like he gave an overview. I'd be interested to hear what his next step is.
Well, it's what our next step is. And our next step was to get a quote from him.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, where is he headed with this?
And we have to vote on it eventually.
Exactly, absolutely. That's down the road, I think, a while, but it'd be nice to hear from him. Okay, we can move down to electrical systems.
Right, so as you know, Jeff Grenier was not able to finish the he's not going to finish the project he started because of his back surgery and everything. He's not calling me back anymore. So Morissette and Son Electrical Contractors, they have quoted $1,320 to finish it out. To install the plugs where they're supposed to be and to rewire the emergency lights the way they're supposed to be. The account, the Article 10 repair account that was approved only has $1,303.50 left in it, which leaves us $16.50 short. And the reason for that is because right after this got approved at that town meeting to bring the electrical system up to code and fix the glaring issues, we had a light in the basement catch on fire. Repairing that was deemed within the scope. So that was an unexpected expense that was added to this article's funding. So this will exhaust it. It'll send us $16.50 over. If I can't get them to drop that, I'm hoping it won't be a problem just to pay the remainder out of LIG MEG. And then this will be done.
Do we need to vote on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to vote on using $16.50 out of the LIG MEG to cover the costs for the electrical system.
I'll move that.
Seconded.
Okay. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, you got your money.
Woo, $16.50.
Hey, we're wheeling and dealing here, baby.
The interior plastering this has turned into a huge headache.
Oh my God, yeah.
There's an article on the upcoming town meeting. It's already set in stone to approve an expense up to $75,000 to fix the ceiling. I have, in theory, we're going to have 3 quotes soon. The first people I reached out to were Straight Edge Plastering, and they have an electrician they work with, Paul Quinn. I ended up having to call Paul Quinn individually to get him to come here and then communicate with Straight Edge. I've called Straight Edge like 4 times now and haven't gotten a response in the last week. They have yet to provide a quote. So I'm just going to keep pestering them until they do, or this boat just sails without them. The other two people who quoted, Brian LaValle quoted 58,575. And that was kind of the quote that got everyone raising their eyebrows, you know, because it's a lot. It's a lot more than we were kind of expecting. So since I was having trouble getting quotes, Selectman Mike Fitzpatrick reached out and he got CertaPro painters to come in and give us a quote. And then we found out that Brian LaValle's quote wasn't as high as we all thought it was, because they quoted $40,670. But that's on the understanding that we remove all the electrical stuff from the ceiling before they start and then put it back when they are done, which means we have to deal with two contractors. So another quote had to be obtained from Morissette electricians to do that. We have a verbal quote from them for $8,000, which would make the project total $48,670, which is $10,000 cheaper than Brian LaValle's proposal. But we have to deal with two contractors individually. We have to have the come in, do their work, then the painters come in and do their work, then the electrician come back and do their work.
Yep.
Once everything is covered in plastic, staged over, CertaPro estimates we would have to close the library for a month.
Wow.
A month?
To fix the ceiling. Whereas Brian Valley's quote, which is $10,000 more, includes the electrical work built in. He would have his electrician in here working simultaneous with him. They would be working on one spot of the building at the time, so it would be possible to keep the library open as long as, you know, they're staging in one part and we're just using another part. And if we were to completely close, he thinks that he could be in and out in 2 weeks instead of a month. So that's two things to consider. I've never done this whole get 3 quotes and pick one process before, so I don't know what the next steps are going to be.
And okay, I have a couple things, Justin, are you able to move forward without 3 quotes? I think you have to have a 3rd quote.
You can move forward if you have failures or refusals to quote, which we have a lot of refusals to quote.
Okay. And then my other thing I want to say is you're dealing with a national corporation versus a local person. My personal feeling is we are allowed to approve an expense up to $75,000 to fix the ceiling. Brian LaValle is local, but he will do, and he's going to do everything together, which is a huge thing. When you start a giant job like this and you try to coordinate one contractor and another, they have to sync, and it doesn't always happen. And according to Brian, he's saying he can do it in a couple of weeks. Even if the library has to close for a period of time, it's a lot less than a month. And I would say that would probably go over a month, the way they're talking about it. So that's my feeling.
Yeah, one of the reasons I've been waiting with bated breath for this quote from Straight Edge is because they're also sort of a bundled plastering and electrician, so they would be taking care of it together too.
Right.
So we would be looking at them, a situation the same as what we have with Brian, where we don't have to deal with contractors. But they're gonna have to give me a quote eventually, or they're gonna miss the boat, because the Mike Fitzpatrick is the one who keeps mentioning this and kind of trying to carry it forward. And Adam and Matt are all involved. I don't even know that we have the final decision here, or if the Capital Committee does. There's a lot about this process I don't know moving forward. I'm still just trying to get the quotes.
And Mike Fitzpatrick is pushing what? Or
he wants to see the ceiling fixed.
Oh, yeah. We all do. Okay.
I don't understand why we have to close the whole library. Why can't you close off that room so people can still go down to story hour and come in the back way and use the other rooms and still keep the circulation desk open?
Because
can I,
Vertipro wants to wrap the whole first floor and do it all at once. That's
and
how.
can I chime in a little bit on story time? and
Well,
that-
are other rooms being done or just that one room? Are they doing more than one room ceiling?
It's the whole first floor. Everywhere there's plaster on the ceiling.
The stacks, the circulation desk, and that whole, they're doing all of that?
My office, the bathroom, all of it.
They all have cracks.
They all have cracks.
Can I make a comment about having it open downstairs for story time? Lead paint. Is there lead paint in that ceiling?
I have no idea.
They're covering it anyway.
Okay.
But I mean,
Yeah,
it
they're
would
covering it with sheetrock, so that should solve it.
No, I'm talking about while they're doing the work.
contain from the rest of
Yeah,
the
but they're not, or there's more danger now without doing anything with lead paint.
No, I'm just commenting on Betty's proposal that the downstairs stay open for story times. My concern is there lead paint in the air? It doesn't have to fall on the person. They don't have to eat it. You can breathe it in. Do we want to do that? I'm just commenting on that. That's all.
I would probably ask for guidance from the contractors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we don't need to do anything right now, do we? Do we?
Yeah, you got to go to a town meeting and vote for the $75,000.
And when is that? That's next
Yeah.
week.
It's next Monday.
Oh,
So
Article
write it
2
down and get in and vote for it.
There you go. I'm looking at the October calendar, so it's not going to help me right now. All right, so,
Yeah, I think Justin put it on, if you look back up, it says November 8th,
okay, all right.
special town meeting.
Yeah, got it.
November 8th. That's this Monday.
okay.
We just got the voter information bulletin.
Oh, so it is getting mailed. I just haven't seen it yet.
It is. I'm assuming so. We got one at the library.
We got one.
Okay, I'm just behind.
In today's
You
mail.
can check your mail, Don.
I know, I don't always get it every day.
Yeah. So the
Okay.
discussion will go on after, if the money gets
Right,
appropriated
right.
at town meeting.
Yeah,
And it's part of free cash. It's not denying anybody anything, because they're sort of fat with money right now, the town.
Nobody was objecting to it.
Yeah.
No one wants the ceiling to fall down.
Right.
absolutely not. Are we good to move forward?
Oh.
To the attic door.
Brad Reardon was supposed to come last Thursday. He didn't. This is the second time he's no-showed. So I think the attic door is something, once again, it might be better just to take off the agenda. It might be a pipe dream.
Well, put it in that, in the parking lot and maybe bring it back sometime.
Put what in the parking lot?
The topic of the attic door, if that's a thing from my old statewide meetings. Put it in the parking lot. That was topics that came up that you couldn't deal with at the moment.
Like that's like the back burner?
Yeah, you might as well say it's the same thing, but we had to come up with a new term. So we put it in the park. Yeah, put it on the back burner.
Well, if they give us 75,000 for the ceiling and it doesn't cost that, can we use the extra for the attic door?
No,
No, we can't. It's not within the scope of the article.
Darn, that sounded good.
Good try.
It would have been a simple thing if we could have just made the door bigger. But, now that we have to have architectural plans drawn up and, everything approved with the building inspector, and we're already in violation of so many codes anyway that, it's like, let's make
Yeah.
the door bigger, but it's not going to work that way.
All right, we won't press it.
Just
So
keep
moving on
crouching.
to, okay, we're good? All right, moving on to other old business. Grants and the capital campaign.
A little bit of movement since last month in interest-bearing building donations. We've went from 26% to 26.4% of our goal of $400,000. We're at 105,921. This does not include earnings from the auction yet, though, because that has not yet been finalized and tabulated, and I still got to pay for my quill.
Got my stuff. I've already used it all.
I'm going to be the last person to pay for my auction stuff.
Isn't that the way it goes? You're gonna have to hound Ellie. You're gonna have to hound him.
he's on the list. I mean, we have a list of people that have not paid, and he's on it.
There were 6 people on the list this morning. Now there's only 3, so we're making progress.
Okay.
I may actually have to step away because, one of the other people on the list is Ramona Williams, who will be coming to pick up her winnings and
Oh.
hello if she comes down the stairs.
Okay. Other.
And I don't guess, I didn't put it in the agenda, but we got the carrot grant disbursement. So that's a grant.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay. All right. So other what? Oh,
Other old business or other building. No, other grants.
I
Yeah.
think we've had enough others.
Okay.
Other supplies.
I want to hear from the friends.
Okay, the Friends did well at Oktoberfest. We were just under $1,000, and then one of the friends said, "Oh, I'll give some money to bring it to over $1,000." So it was like
Yay.
$1,000 and some change. So
Oh, that's
that was-
awesome.
that was nice to get. The auction did really well, but I don't know how much we've got. I've deposited the people that have paid in cash and checks, and but I haven't been online to figure out what the credit card people that paid. I haven't figured out all of that yet. So and I still haven't figured it out. I haven't even looked for that. But I think it's like $7,000 or $8,000 total. Justin, you have an idea, or you put something on the sign. What did you say on the sign? $8,000?
Or that
Yeah.
sign was up when I came back from vacation, so that's what I'm basing my stuff on.
Oh, okay, good. But that also includes Louis Tocino's $1,000 donation.
Yeah.
There are some of the people that, like one of the women that I was giving their wins to last Tuesday, she had, on top of buying whatever she did at the auction, she also donated $250, and she was going to have her the company that she works for, she submitted to them to do a matching grant for the
Awesome.
$250. Yeah, so that was exciting.
Yeah.
Since I'm retired, I don't have that option anymore. So, but that was very nice. I like that. So that should bring us, maybe we'll hit what are we at now? 24, how much of 26%? Is that where we're at,
A
Justin?
little over 26, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it will bring us to 27,000.
That should be a good,
7%.
that should be a good help.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I'll have a clearer report next month on all of that.
Yeah, that would be great. Wow, I think it's amazing. You guys do such a great job. All right.
We did have a recap of the whole thing this past Saturday of things that we could do better or worse or whatever, and so that was useful. We met at the library down in the meeting room and had a good chat.
You mentioned some of the things that did not go on this auction of doing like a mini auction or something.
Well, somebody had suggested, one of the people that work on the committee, she suggested having a raffle. And some of the things were handmade little horses, they're fairly not tiny, but they're soft toys and stuff like that. And I know the friends that I've never done it here, but you to do it correctly, you have to go to the town clerk and apply for a raffle permit or something like that, and then to officially hold the raffle. And
well, what kinds of things? So Ellie, what kinds of things are left?
Well, I think that Donna was hoping to return a bunch of stuff, but like all the jewelry stuff that this one lady had just given us all these things. I had bought these little glass containers that have silver tops to them that you put on your bedside table to put your pills that you have to take first thing in the morning. And so from her, and so it was stuff like that she gets at a decent price, and then she just gave it all, or gave it to the auction, and it raised about $500 for the auction. But then she took what she had donated that did not sell back with her, but that was a big boost. So some of the things are going back to the donors, and other things like those stuffed animals. I don't know,
Well, I have a thought. Talking about a raffle, are you familiar with baskets, like doing up baskets?
Yeah, I've never done them before, but I've known libraries that have done them. Yeah, those are quite nice. And people, what do they do? Put money or?
Well, no. What you do is you put together baskets. So the reason I'm asking what's left is you can take those things and you can add various things. You put them in a basket, whether it's a wicker basket or a laundry basket or something. You wrap it, make it look good. Give it a theme, and then you sell chances on the baskets. I've worked for many, many years at a church where that was like a huge source of income when they would do those.
Yeah.
So you need to find out, put together everything that's left from the auction, try to get some donations of whatever you want to do, or of whether you want to make it a school themed or a movie themed or a chocolate theme or whatever. Put together baskets and do that.
Yeah, that's an idea. That is a good idea, which if we go with it, we'll be in touch with you, Dan.
Okay, I'm happy to share my input on that, because
because I know
we used to take nothing and make it look like this great thing that you want to get.
Well, I'm not good at making things look great like that, but I know that I remember the Boylston Library used to do it. every
Uh-huh.
year. And it was pretty, I happened to see them all once for a meeting or something like that. And they were very impressive,
Yeah.
the baskets that they had. But there are some of the friends are more artistic than I am as far as putting together something beautiful like that. So
Well, it's an idea to bring up and see.
yeah, well, I'm not sure we have that many things hanging around, but
Okay.
we can try doing it. And
But it's an idea for if you're looking to do some other raffle or something
yeah,
to do, I don't know, I don't know how I'm willing to give some input and help with that.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. So I'm gonna write your name down on my
Oh,
minutes.
geez, not in pen, I hope.
I could help with that too, Ally, with making it look pretty.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All right. But we may only have these 3 or 4 horses hanging around that
Yeah.
are, but they're not the carousel horses. These are ones that somebody had made that are quite nice.
Oh, those are nice. All right, well, let's move on if we're ready. Justin, are we ready?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we're back to other.
Other friends. Oh,
I'm
other,
skipping.
yeah.
I'm
Other
skipping.
old business.
I'm skipping over every time I come across other. All right, new business. All right.
I've got new business.
All right.
Right. The patron computers are basically on their way out the door. They've been limping along since I started here. I've been running them on Linux, but they're just getting too old to do their job. They're causing a lot of patron frustrations. You can't print documents anymore because they don't support newer fonts. So you have to export anything you want to print is a PDF before you can print it, which means we're spending a lot of time with the computers walking patrons through how to use these things.
Mm-hmm.
And to complicate things, the new Linux distributions are not supporting guest sessions. So one of the reasons I wanted to go with Linux instead of Windows is because it's easy to freeze the computers in a way such that a person can sit down, do their business, save files, do whatever work they want to do. And then as soon as they log out, it all goes away. And so that the next person sitting down is sitting down to a pre-configured state that is exactly the way we want it without the previous patron's stuff still lurking around. The newer distros have made it to where it's possible to sort of create I don't know how to explain it. You can create a way, sort of a backdoor kind of guest session, which is what I've been doing for the past 2 years, but that's becoming more and more unstable. So for the public use, we need to go back to using Windows or using Chrome.
Yep.
Chrome is an extremely attractive option. Like the computer I'm using right now, this Chromebook, I can log into my Google account and it saves stuff, which is great from a cost perspective and from a functionality perspective. It's not so great from a privacy perspective. My initial thoughts were if we bought a bunch, or 4 or 5 of these machines and just check them out over the circ desk for patrons to use here, they could either log in as a guest and use it or log into their Google account. But not everyone wants to have a Google account, and that's justifiable. So what I'm thinking right now is going kind of old school, because there's I don't know if y'all remember TechSoup, but it's TechSoup. It's a nonprofit that specializes in obtaining refurbished computers, software, hardware, and then rebundling it for an administrative fee and turning it over to public institutions and nonprofits. Well, I'll just show you. I will show you what I am thinking.
Okay.
If you can see my screen, because I can go to TechSoup. Basically, companies donate products to them whenever they're done with them. Can I log in? I should be able to log in. Yes. And there's a specific package I was looking at earlier. How do I get back there? I don't want copies of Office. I want refurbished computers. And if you can't see the screen, I apologize for my rambling.
We can see it.
We're good.
Yeah, but Betty can't see. She's on her phone.
Well, she can
Oh.
keep
She's
looking
listening
into
to
the
us talk about
receiver.
stuff she can't see. This specific package I find attractive. It's 5 Lenovo ThinkPad computers with Windows 10 and Condition B, which means they may have a few cosmetic defects, but there's
Mhm.
nothing functionally wrong with them, for a total of $1,725. That would give us 5 laptops that we can check out. They would run Windows, so patrons would be familiar with them. There wouldn't be any explaining how to, use Ubuntu or Chrome. And there is a software I think I can use to secure and lock them in a stable state without having to buy deep freeze, called Reboot Restore RX, which would make it where every time you shut off the computer and turn it back on, it will reboot back to your pre-configured state instead of, retaining any settings that the patrons tweaked. So if y'all are okay with it, I suppose what I would ask at this point is for approval to spend $1,725 to get these 5 laptops and then take the time to figure out, get them configured and get them ready to circ, and then replace our current desktop computers with those.
So you're not saying that patrons can check these out and leave the building with them?
No, it would be like a check it out for a 2-hour loan period.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got it.
You can just
Right.
take it with you. And then
Yeah.
you wouldn't be tied to where the workstations are, which right now is kind of inconvenient because it's right next
Yeah,
to the
it is. Yeah. But they have to stay within the library, right?
Yeah, they would need to stay in the library. Even, like if someone wants to use it on the steps, I wouldn't have, a huge problem with it because we would be able to brick them if someone just walks away with them. And, we would have you would have to have a library card to check these out. We have a lot of patrons who come in and expect to have to use their library card to check out a computer, even though it's something to sit down at, because that's how a lot of other libraries work. We just let you come in, sit down, and go to town. But with his new system, you would have to have a library card. You would have to check out the machine.
Okay.
And then bring it back to the desk when you're done. Then we would recharge it, we would restart it, and then it would be ready for the next patron.
And that person's information would be wiped off of it.
Yes, I would have to find a way to make that happen, either through Reboot Restore RX or some other open source means. It's not something I want to pay deep freeze for because they charge $48 per year per computer, which is too much. But there's other ways. I'll find them.
Okay, well.
That certainly sounds like a good price.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's no guarantee we'll get these. The way this works is you add it to your cart, and then they send you an email. Then you have to sort of justify your institution's need. They'll ask for our financials and all that.
I don't know.
Prove it, then we get it. But we would probably.
Dawn's dog loves it.
He's so kissy.
I don't know.
Why don't you know, Danielle?
I'm just not sure. I'm just hesitant about it.
It's a few. Sorry.
I'm sorry. You said what?
The natives are all restless in here. Sorry.
All right, we can. I guess I'm fine then. I didn't really get threatened or anything. I don't know. I just wasn't What does the rest of the board think?
Well, I'm familiar with TechSoup, but I think it's a fine organization to do business with.
Okay,
What
I
about the,
think Justin did all this research. He must know what he's doing, so.
We used TechSoup in Northborough. That's where Northborough got all their computers when I worked there.
okay.
the computer looks like it gets good reviews. I was just wondering like the functionality of it.
They're not the greatest computers in the world, but you know, they
Yeah,
don't have to be for patron use.
right.
They really don't have to be for any of our use. I mean, like this
But-
Chromebook I'm using, you know, is, you know, I mean, it's not a powerful computer, you know, it's not like what I built dead. But it does the job.
Yeah, and but it still gets over 4 out of 5 stars. So should work.
So if we made a motion to, for you to spend, not this particular one, like no more than $2,000 for 5 computers, does that sound
Hmm.
like? Because I don't want to have to go through and vote again and again and again and again.
I hear you.
Yes.
Yeah,
As long as we provide him with, or make a motion to reasonably purchase 5 patron computers or something like that. But it
Justin's
doesn't have
always
to be 5.
reasonable.
What?
Justin's always reasonable.
Well, yeah, he is. So.
Yeah, I agree with that, Ellie. Just so it's not, something changes.
Yeah,
You don't need to wait
yeah.
a month and vote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. Are we good with that?
Yeah, we're using LIG funds. Does that sound good, Justin?
Yes,
It sounds good to me. We could use Carrick funds too, if you wanted to, because that's there. It's unrestricted.
Carrick would be good.
Well, how much is in LIG MEG?
Whatever.
LIG MEG, we have $16,640 available to spend. And Carrick have 2,203.
Well, maybe we should do LIGMEG then.
yep.
Because that's what we have a history of using LIG MEG for computer.
Right, yeah. Okay, then I will entertain a motion to use, to authorize Justin to spend up to $2,000 for 5 laptops from LIGMEG funds. Is that correct?
For up to 5.
Up to 5.
Not-
Yes, up to 5.
Okay.
Up to $2,000 for up to 5 laptops.
For patron use,
Yeah,
in-house.
yes.
I'll second it. I mean, I'll make it. If you
All right. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Oh, that dog is going to do his.
All right, we
No,
got
it's a different dog now.
It's supper time. He's saying you're done. Any further discussion, questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Oh, gee.
Exciting one.
Yeah, that's a quiet dog.
It's time to be done. He must hate
He does
my
have a-
voice. All right, where are
I
we?
will order those and hope we get them. And if we do, it'll just be a lot of work.
All right, well, give you something to do.
Yeah, I need something
Just kidding, Justin.
to do. It's a pain in the butt to configure these network connections, because anything we want to be able to access the printer, it can't just be connected to the library public hotspot. It has to be connected to a different hotspot broadcast by our SSID. So each one of these computers has to be assigned a manual IP
Oh,
address.
you're just drooling at the chance to do that.
And it has to be routed through to the printer. And then it has to be frozen in that state so a patron can't screw it up. Like right now, there's this huge like technological proficiency initiative going on in the state where, you know, like the employees, everyone who works for the town has to do these online training modules about how to
Yep.
keep computers safe. And you know, like here we are, you know, trying to set computers up where we're basically giving them to anyone who wanders in off the street. And it's just like, you have no idea.
Right, that's kind of my scare, but that's okay. I'll go along with it. I'm good. All right, our next topic is we need to decide when we're going to meet next. Do we want to do November 23rd or November 30th?
I don't want to do November 23rd.
Okay.
30th is good.
Sounds good to me. All right. Do we hear, so do we need a motion? Someone
No,
make a
just-
motion?
You don't have to, I don't think. You
All
just-
right, so-
The next meeting will be
November
November 30th.
All right, will be November
4 p.m.
30th.
virtual.
Yes.
Yes.
I might get up to the Cape for my daughter's birthday. Except I have to cook Thanksgiving dinner for someone. I don't know who, but I have to cook it. Yeah. Oh my Lord. Okay, I'm sorry. I won't talk again. He wants me to be done. Okay. I hear that as a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Okay, baby. All right. All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Where's the dog?